Phoenix. You're watching FeMetal TV, and we were hanging out with Mike Gilbert and Eric AK of Flotsam and Jetsam. Hey guys.
How's it going? How are you?
Thanks for hanging out with us. So you guys are getting ready to embark upon the 30th year of Doomsday. That's coming up. Been a lot of member changes over the years. Most recently, Kelly Smith just departed. The first time he left, he was gone 14 years. Then he came back and he just left again. Were you surprised by that? Did you know it was coming, or did it kind of catch you by surprise?
I'm surprised he came back. I'm not really surprised he left again. He missed it for a lot of years and came back and decided he didn't miss it as much as he thought. Off he goes.
Were you surprised?
No, not really. I mean, we could kind of see it coming. He had some personal stuff that he needed to take care of, so, that's fine. We prepared ourselves for it, and we ended up getting Jason Bittner from Shadows Fall, and he's been a great addition to the band. He can write, he can sing, he can definitely play drums. He's got Kelly's finesse for the songs. He's just a total badass drummer, so he fit in perfectly. He came in for the first rehearsal and filled Kelly's shoes to the T. So, not taking anything from Kelly, we miss him. He's the original drummer and stuff like that. But since he's got a new chapter in his life, we got a new chapter as well. So we're gonna still move forward with the beast. So,
how many drummers were considered before choosing Jason Bittner?
That he was really the guy, because we started kind of talking to him when we could feel Kelly, his distance and stuff like that. And we started talking to Jason back then. Him and Kelly are pretty good friends too. So Kelly, that was the one guy that Kelly was like, yeah, this guy is definitely a good fit for the band. So, it was pretty much him. We pretty much knew it was going to be him.
Have you ever noticed that there's been a lot of Jasons in this band?
Yeah, that's funny.
Especially the one from Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
He's been in this band several times.
Mike, what prompted your first departure, and then what made you decide that it was time to return 11 years later?
Management stuff that was going on. I didn't care for how things were handled, and I was just like, I had personal stuff going on at that time too, so everything just equaled out to like, maybe it's time for me to take a break. And I did, and things changed, and this guy called me back and was like, dude, let's write some tunes. So I was like, all right. I don't even know how long I was gone for, but I still kept writing when I was gone. And I had a couple little bands that I was messing around with and stuff like that, but my heart was pretty much always with this because this was my baby, I do a lot of the songwriting for this band, so this is my baby. When he called me back, I was like, I'm all over this. Let's do some shows.
AK, your high school music teacher once said that you could have been the next Neil Diamond. You've done musical theater. In 2001, you created a country band, AK Chorale. Any side projects on the horizon? Any talk about resurrecting the chorale?
Well, first of all, I am the next Neil Diamond. Or was the next Neil Diamond. There's always projects on the back burners. You do music for a living, you do music for a living. You don't just do it when, one band's ready to do stuff. We all have little projects that we're working on here or there, but nothing that requires as much focus for us than Flotsam does. So it's basically main priority for all of us.
I saw a video a couple years ago of Jason Newsted rehearsing with you guys. Was there a moment when you guys considered a reunion with Jason Newsted?
Yeah, and we rehearsed, and that was the reunion.
Yeah, it was an unpublicized reunion for us, pretty much. Actually, that was when we started making Ugly Noise. I had called him and asked him if he wanted to co-write some stuff with me because I had some ideas. So I spoke with him. He came out and worked on some stuff with me. We went back and forth between San Francisco and here. And then it was kind of his idea to do that and see how things would work out, But he's just got too much stuff going on. He couldn't do it. He couldn't commit to it. He had his other band, Newstead. And, that's just the way it worked out. We had a great weekend jamming with him though, and we still wrote the songs with him. Those the 2 songs off of Ugly Noise, Giddy Up, and actually the title track of Ugly Noise.
How do you feel the Pledge music campaign worked while you were making Ugly Noise?
Oh wow, I think it worked great actually.
Yeah, it did. It did exactly what we needed it to do. If you go into Pledge Music thinking, we're going to be rich off of this, 1 million people are going to, take the highest price package we have, and we're going to be loaded. It's not going to happen for you. It just doesn't happen. But the way Pledge Music is set up, if you need, 10 grand to record a record, that's not an unreachable goal. You can get there, but it's when you start shooting for more than you need or more than you can use to actually get that project done, that's when it's really not a viable thing for anybody. But if you need 10 grand to get a project done, that's a really nice, easy way, and everybody wins all the way around. The fans win, the band wins, Pledge Music wins, everybody wins.
Well, that was like scrutinized too back then. That was when crowdfunding was just kind of starting to take off a little bit. Wasn't a lot of bands doing it. Definitely no. Well, I mean, I guess there might have been a couple like really big bands doing that sort of stuff, but it wasn't any metal bands at the time. But what was good, and what people don't understand, is with the record business right now, people aren't buying records. So you know how all this stuff works. But if nobody's buying the records, the labels start going under. There's no record label to fund us to make records, so we got to go someplace else. It costs money to do a recording. It costs money to tour. Since record labels aren't giving out $150,000, $300,000 anymore to do a record, go in these big studios and do it, it needs to be funded a different way. And the crowdfunding seemed like it's more recognized now, and it just seems like a better route for bands. To me, that's my opinion about it. And all I do is I just see it's still going. Megadeth is starting a crowdfund right now. There's a lot of people disappointed about that, but I understand, what they're doing. Nobody's buying their CDs. Where are the gold records? How do you get a gold record these days if nobody's buying your CDs? How can you tell you sold 500,000 records? You can't. How can you tell that 500,000 have been stolen? I mean,
So it was workable. It worked for you.
Absolutely.
And is it something you would do again?
Yeah, I would definitely do that again. We got a lot of support from it, and I think it's the next wave for music.
August 2006 marks the 30-year anniversary of Doomsday for the Deceiver. What do you consider Flotsam and Jetsam's biggest accomplishment in 30 years?
We're still here. That's pretty big. We're still doing it. Biggest accomplishment, pretty much just that. We're still here. We're still growing as a band. We're still growing as writers. We're still loving every minute of it. That's a huge accomplishment. I mean, I could say when we did 200,000 seat whatever festival, but really those are going to come and go off and on over the years. But still being here after all the bands that started when we did, and there's maybe 6% of them that are still up and running and still going. It's kind of remarkable to me that we're still putting out records and still touring.
Yeah, definitely. We still seem to be relevant somewhat out there. We hear fans like we're getting ready to do another European tour. Every time we go over there, there's people that remember the last time we were there, and they come back to see us. In the United States too, but the relevance I think that's our biggest accomplishment.
You lost a very close friend and a big part of the Flotsam crew, Chris Kuchar, last June. How has it been this last year without him?
Chris was not really, until just recently before his death, he really was not that active with the band. He was always one of the brothers and one of the friends, but he wasn't in a position where we were lost without him at the point when he died. So, business-wise, it really hasn't hurt us that much. Mentally and emotionally, it crushed every one of us pretty bad. So,
Yeah, that's hard to swallow.
Yeah. You move on. You 10 times a day out on tour. You go, oh, remember when Chris did this? Remember when we went by there and Chris did? That stuff hits you once in a while. But as far as business wise and the band running and stuff like that, we weren't at the point where we were relying on him to keep us going like we had been for years and years and years before that. So
You were at the Sweden Rock Fest when you got the news, is that correct?
yeah,
That must have been a rough flight back to the States after hearing that.
it was a numb flight.
Tell me about the summer tour. Where are some of the places that you're going to go?
Oh, geez. I don't have a list of all the countries that we're going to go to, but it's the basics over there in Europe. Sweden, France, Germany, Austria, Czech Republic. We're going up to Ireland this time. We haven't been to Ireland ever. First time over there.
That's great.
England. We haven't been to England too many times in the past year.
Crete, the Greek islands, are on there, and I've never been there before. So.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing after 30 years that you're going places you've never been.
Oh, there's a lot of places we've never been. There's a lot of places we've been a million times too. So.
What's your favorite place to play in Europe?
I think Athens has been my favorite.
Yeah, it kind of depends on what you're there for. If you're there for the crowd, usually Germany shows are pretty good. Greek shows are always great. Those people are nuts. If you're going for scenery, Austria is really nice. They got a lot of old history and ski resorts and castles and cool stuff to look at. So it all depends on what you're going over there for, or what's favorite about each place you go to.
We get excited about when we play Austria because we get to go do all the tourism stuff and all that.
That's great, and that's one of the wondrous things about being on tour. If you actually do get to stay long enough to see the place that you're in, other than loading in for sound check and loading out at the end of the evening.
None of us are the kind of dudes that'll stay on the bus and hang out. I mean, we like to get up and go see what's around there. But
when can we expect the 12th Flotsam album?
That's a good question. We're working on it right now, but we're kind of derailed right now because of the tour. We were hoping to be done with it, at least the recording by now, but it always takes longer than we think.
2016?
Probably before that.
Great. Thank you so much.
Probably there.
Probably? Is that the technicality in the contract?
Yeah.
We're hoping
Small
for
friend.
once. We've never had an album that came out right before Christmas, ever. So we're hoping that we'll at least get it out before Christmas, so it's a viable Christmas present.
That would be a very metal Christmas for everybody. Great. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate it. For those of you that are here in Arizona, they will be at Club Red on May 8th. For those of you who are in Europe, stay tuned because they're coming at you. Thanks for tuning in to FeMetal TV.